They didn't want you to see this. That is the first thing you need to understand before I tell you a single word of what happened after Raw went off the air last night. WWE did not want this getting out. The cameras were deliberately off. The production trucks had shut down. The arena lights were dimming, and the crew was breaking down the set, and everyone was supposed to be heading home. That was the plan. That was what WWE wanted. A clean ending to Raw with no loose threads, no controversy, no footage that could surface and cause a problem. But here is the thing about secrets in a building full of hundreds of people. They do not stay secrets. And what Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins did to Gunther in that backstage corridor after Raw went off the air last night is the most explosive, most shocking, most earth-shattering piece of information to come out of WWE in years. And I am going to tell you every single detail because the WWE Universe deserves to know what these two men did when they thought nobody was watching. Comment right now if you cannot believe what you are hearing. Share this video to every wrestling fan on your contact list immediately because this is the conversation that WWE does not want happening at this volume. They want this quiet. They want this contained. And we are going to make sure it is neither. This is Ring Rumble 1, and we do not let WWE bury the truth. Let's set the scene. Raw has gone off the air. The broadcast is over. The cameras that capture everything you see on television have been powered down. The production team is in wind-down mode. Superstars are changing, showering, heading to their cars, making travel arrangements for the next city on the schedule. This is the period after the show that most fans never think about. The quiet, unscripted, unfiltered time when the performance ends and real life resumes. When the carefully constructed television product dissolves and what remains is just people. Just human beings with their real emotions, their real rivalries, their real unresolved tensions. And last night, in that window of time, in that unmonitored, unfilmed, uncontrolled backstage environment, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins found Gunther. Let that sit for a moment. Think about what that means. Think about those two names together in the same sentence with purpose and intent behind them. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the most calculating, most politically powerful, most strategically brilliant superstar in the history of WWE. A man who spent years at the top of this company, not just because of his physical gifts, but because of his ability to operate in the spaces between the official narrative, the spaces where cameras don't reach and official records don't exist. And Seth Rollins, the visionary, the architect, a man whose intelligence is matched only by his capacity for violence when he decides that violence is the correct tool for the situation. A man who has reinvented himself more times than anyone in this business and whose most dangerous reinvention is always the one nobody saw coming. These two men, separately, are among the most formidable forces WWE has ever produced. Together, with a shared target and a shared purpose and the protection of darkness and absence of cameras, they are something that does not have a name yet, something that the WWE Universe has never had to confront before. And Gunther was standing in their path. Drop everything and comment right now. Did you ever think you would see Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins operating on the same side? Because this alliance, this terrifying, unexpected, deeply sinister alliance, is the part of the story that changes everything. And I need to know if you saw this coming because I absolutely did not. Share this video right now because the implications of what this partnership means for WWE going forward are enormous, and the wrestling world needs to be talking about this. Now, here is how it went down. Gunther was in that backstage corridor, post-show, still processing the night, still in that transitional headspace between competitor and human being that every superstar occupies in the minutes after a broadcast ends. His guard was not completely down. Gunther is too experienced, too battle-hardened, too fundamentally aware of his environment for his guard to ever be completely down. But it was lower than it would have been inside that arena with cameras rolling and officials present and the institutional structures of WWE surrounding him. And Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins used every single fraction of that lowered guard.
They came from different directions. This is the detail that tells you everything about the level of planning that went into this. 2 different directions, meaning this was coordinated, meaning there was a conversation between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins before this moment. A conversation about timing, about positioning, about how to approach Gunther in a way that maximized the damage and minimized his ability to defend himself. 2 men who have had their own complicated history, their own battles, their own reasons to be on opposite sides of every situation, sat down together and planned this. That level of coordination between those 2 specific individuals, against Gunther specifically, that is not impulsive, that is not emotional. That is a decision that was made with cold, clear-eyed, ruthless intention. Roman Reigns from one side, Seth Rollins from the other, and Gunther caught between them with nowhere to go. The assault that followed was not the wild, chaotic kind that comes from passion or rage. It was structured, organized, devastatingly efficient. Roman Reigns controlled the power dimension, the raw physical force that pins a man in place and removes his ability to generate any kind of counter momentum. And Seth Rollins worked with that precision that makes him so uniquely terrifying, targeting, calculating, delivering damage in the specific places and specific ways that a man with his knowledge of anatomy and combat knows will have the most lasting impact. They did not overlap. They did not get in each other's way. They worked together, like they had been a team for years, like this was not a one-time collaboration born from mutual interest, but a deeply rehearsed, deeply intentional partnership that has been building quietly for longer than anyone realized. And the most chilling part, the detail that has been circulating among the people who witnessed this and cannot stop talking about it, is the silence. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins did not say a word during this attack, not to each other, not to Gunther, not a single word. No speeches, no threats, no declarations. Just silent, focused, total destruction, delivered in the darkness of a backstage corridor while the arena emptied around them. When it was over, when Gunther was down and the damage was done, Roman Reigns looked at Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins looked at Roman Reigns, and something passed between them in that look that the people who witnessed it are describing as one of the most unsettling things they have ever seen backstage in WWE. Not celebration, not satisfaction, just acknowledgement, a mutual wordless confirmation that the thing they came to do had been done. And then they walked in opposite directions, back into the darkness, back into the crowd of production staff and arena workers who had no idea what had just happened 20 feet away from them. And Gunther lay in that corridor until someone found him. Now I need you to share this video right now, because what I am about to get into is the part that transforms this from a shocking backstage incident into the most consequential story in WWE today. Because the question is not just what happened, the question is why. Why are Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, two men with their own agendas, their own ambitions, their own complicated relationship with each other, why are they aligned against Gunther specifically? What does Gunther represent to both of them that made this collaboration not just possible but necessary? Think about Roman Reigns first. Roman's entire operational philosophy is built on control. Control of the roster, control of the narrative, control of who rises and who falls and at what pace and under what conditions. For years, the bloodline was his instrument of that control, but the landscape has shifted, new power structures have emerged, division exists now, new stars are ascending, and in the middle of all that shifting, changing, unpredictable landscape, Gunther stands as someone who operates completely outside of Roman's sphere of influence. Gunther does not bend. Gunther does not negotiate from a position of weakness. Gunther does not acknowledge hierarchies that he did not choose to recognize. And for Roman Reigns, a superstar who cannot be influenced, cannot be controlled, cannot be brought into the fold or neutralized through political maneuvering, that superstar is not just a rival. That superstar is a threat to the entire architecture of how Roman operates.
Now, think about Seth Rollins. Seth attacked Gunther. We know this. We covered the devastation of that assault and the career-threatening damage it inflicted on the ring general. But Gunther came back. Gunther survived what Seth did to him and aligned with the vision and positioned himself as a man with resources, with protection, with an entire faction behind him. Seth Rollins created a Gunther problem when he attacked the ring general. And now that Gunther problem has become significantly more complicated because the ring general is no longer just a proud, isolated superstar. He is part of something larger. He has backup. He has Paul Heyman's strategic genius protecting him. So Seth Rollins needed a solution, and Roman Reigns needed a solution. And somehow, in the way that WWE's most brilliant and most dangerous minds occasionally find each other in the spaces where the cameras do not reach, they found the same solution at the same time. Each other. This is the alliance that nobody predicted. This is the partnership that changes every single power dynamic in WWE. Because Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins operating together, even temporarily, even for a single shared purpose, reshuffles the entire deck. The vision has to recalculate. Paul Heyman has to recalculate. Every faction, every champion, every superstar building toward any kind of significant moment has to look at this development and factor it into every plan they are making. Because if Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins decided that Gunther was worth coming together for, if these two specific men found enough common ground to coordinate a backstage assault in the dark after cameras went off, then what else are they capable of?
What other decisions have already been made in conversations we have not heard? What other targets have already been identified and discussed and planned for? The scary answer is that we do not know. And the fact that we do not know, the fact that this alliance exists in the shadows where cameras cannot follow, makes it infinitely more dangerous than anything happening in the bright lights of Raw and SmackDown's official programming. Gunther is broken, physically, potentially in ways that will take significant time to recover from. The ring general who aligned with the vision and who was supposed to be Paul Heyman's ultimate weapon has been found and dismantled by two men who refused to let politics and history stop them from doing what they calculated needed to be done. And they did it invisibly, off the record, beyond the reach of authority or accountability. Raw just got darker, SmackDown just got more dangerous, and the two most calculating minds in WWE just showed everyone that they are willing to operate completely outside the boundaries of what we thought possible. This is Ring Rumble 1, and I am telling you right now, this is only the beginning. Like this video if this revelation hit you like a freight train. Share it everywhere because this story is going to define WWE for months. And tell me in the comments, what does this Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins alliance mean for the vision? And is Paul Heyman scared for the first time in his entire career? Because he should be. He absolutely should be.